Good morning, everybody. As we start the chitas of the day, we're holding the book of Numbers in the Parsha of Shlach, the story of the Meraglim. So yesterday we learned that Moshe Rabbeinu Moses sent out the spies, and we're holding on chapter 13, verse number 21. Vayalu vayesuru es. They went up and they went up and explored the land. The midbat sin, from the desert of Sin ad Rechoiv till Rechoiv, lo bechamas, at the entrance of Chamos. The Rashi says they walked along the length and the width of its borders, so that their path looked like a Greek gamma. They walked along the side, which was the southern border, from the eastern corner to the western corner. As Moshe Rabbeinu had directed them, go up the way from the south, by the way of the southern border, until the sea. From the sea to the western border. From there, they turned and walked along the entire western border, which is the coast, until they entered Hamas. I'm not sure exactly the exact way it went, which we need to get a map, which is near Mount Hor, in the northern western border corner. Describe the borders and land portion, beginning of the words, these are their travels. Vayal, verse 22, Vayal Negev, they went up in the south, Vayal at Chevron. They came to Chevron. We all know where that place is. Visham Achiman Sheishe Vitalmai, and there lived Achiman Sheishe Vitalmai Yelida Anok, descendants of giants. Chevron Sheva Shonim Nivgasol of Teitzei Mitzrayim. Hebron was built 7 years before Tzoin of Egypt. So Rashi says, Vayavai, and he came. It's singular. There was 12 guys who went up. What means he came? So Rashi says, the Medrash says, Kalev Levade Halach Sham. Kalev himself went to Hebron. Obviously went to pray on the cave of the Machpelah, the cave of the patriarchs. So he shouldn't fall into the trap of the Meraglim. He realized Musabi already what was going on. So he went to pray by the patriarchs Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, who were buried in Hebron, so that he wouldn't fall into their trap. What is the thing that the Torah says that was built 7 years? Is it possible that Chum, who built Hebron for his son Canaan, his youngest son, built it before he built Tzoin from Mitzrayim, his eldest son? So what is the meaning that Hebron was 7 years before Tzoin? Rather, it's stocked with everything good 7 times more than that's the Torah means that Hebron was more beautiful than Tzoin 7 times. What does it want to tell us? The intention is to inform us of the excellence of the land of Israel. For there's no place in the land of Israel rockier than Hebron. You can go there today. It's like on a mountain, which is why it's designated for burial ground. And there's no country in the world as beautiful, as excellent as Egypt. And especially Tzon. It's like the garden of the Lord, like the land of Egypt. Tzon was the best part of Egypt. The residents of kings were in Tzon. They want to tell us how beautiful Tzon was. Hebron was more beautiful 7 times. Verse 22, Yavad Nachal Eshkol, and they came to the valley of Eshkol, V'yichlush Mishams made, and they broke off a branch of cluster grapes, Eshkol and of Mechad. And Vayesir b'moit b'shnayim, and they had to carry it on a pole of 2 people, a cluster of grapes, and from the pomegranates and from the figs. The Rashi says a vine of branch with a cluster of grapes hanging from it, 2 people needed to carry. Rashi says from the vacation of the what it says, they carried in a plural in on a pole. Did I not know that it was carried by two? So what did the Torah continue to tell us by two? The answer with two poles. I would have done 8 of them took a cluster of grapes, one took a fig, one took a pomegranate. Yeshua and Kala did not take anything. So the intentions for the intentions of the others, why did they want to bring these fruit? Because they were gigantic fruit. Because the fruit were extraordinary. So they would say, this place is crazy. Something's wrong with the land. It grows very unusual fruit. So therefore, they say, most people would say, wow, beautiful fruit. It has beautiful fruit, not usual like another land, but they used it out in a negative way. Each man carried on his shoulder one stone from Jordan and said to the guilty, the sages weighed them and determined each stone weighed 40 isah. And the fact that the load of a person can carry on one shoulder is 1/3 of his weight. So can you imagine how heavy these grapes were that need to have 8 people to carry them? Verse 24, they call that place the valley of Eshkel. Al Eshkel because of the cluster of grapes, which the Jewish people cut off from there. Verse 25, they came back from searching out the land, from visiting the land, scouting the land after 40 days. But doesn't that the land measure 400 parses by 400 parses? A parse is equivalent to 3.5 miles in length. An average person daily traveling is 10 parses. Thus, it takes 40 days to walk from east to west. And they traveled the length and the breadth. How do they do it in 40 days? They didn't have a car. So how do they do it? Ever since it's revealed to one of us to be he that he was sent to them for 40 a year for a day, he made it a short. They shortened their way. And they did it in 40 days, which should have taken them a couple of months. Verse 26. So they came back to the desert. They came back to Moshe and Aaron and Lakodas Israel. They came back to the desert and to the Jewish people, and Midbar Paran, to the desert of Paran. Yedesha Vayeshiva some Dover. They brought them back a report. The entire congregation by Yeduim Epriate showed them the fruit of the land. Vayefu Vayavidu. The Rashi says they went and they came. Vayavidu also is they went and they came back. It means to tell us that they went out for negative and they came back with negative. Yeshivas and Dovas Meshan to Meshananu. Yisapurulay verse 27. Yisapurulay Vayemru. So they told him, we went to the land which you sent us. The land of flowing of milk and honey. And look at its fruit. The Rashi says, this is the way you know that's what's happened. Every negative has to have a little positive, or else people wouldn't accept it. So any lie in which a little truth is stated in the beginning cannot maintain in the end. So that's what happened. They have to always put. If there's no truth in it, sheker doesn't have any expression. Sheker ain't on a glayim. Falsity has no feet, so you have to put a little bit of truth in it. But there's always a but, and that's verse 28. But however, people who inhabit the land are mighty. And the cities are extremely huge and fortified. We saw there the offsprings of giants. Verse 29, the Amalekites are living in the land in the south. And the Hittites and the Jebusites and the Amorites dwell in the mountains. Knani and the Canaanites live on the Yam and the coastal. The Rashi said right away they started off with Amalek. Because Amalek already started up with them before when they went out of Egypt. So the Jewish people already knew about Amalek. Amalek was a fearsome nation. It was aggressive, very aggressive people. And the Canaanites were at the edge of, were alongside the Jordan. Verse 30. Vayas Kalev, so the people started to get nervous. Vayas Kalev, so Kalev silenced the people. Oh, Moshe. They said to forget it, don't listen to these guys. We can surely go up, but Yerashno, so we'll inherit it. Because we can indeed overcome it. So Rashi said, Vayas Kalev, and Kalev silenced them. Moshe, to hear what Moshe, what he would say about Moshe, he cried out, "Is this the only thing that the son of Amram has done to us?" Anyone listening might have thought that he intended to disparage Moshe Rabbeinu. And since he was the resentment in their hearts against Moshe, so everybody got quiet. They thought he was going to talk even more. And he started to say good. He said, didn't he split the sea? Didn't he bring down the man? What are you worried about? If Moshe Rabbeinu did all this for us, he'll take us into the land of Eretz Yisrael. Even to the heavens, if he tells us. Make a ladder and go up there. We'll succeed and go to the heaven. But the people, the men who went up with him, verse 31, they said, we cannot do it. We're unable to do good. Hello, we cannot do it. Impossible. They are stronger than we. Now, mimenu, he translates over as we. But mimenoi is him. That's really the right translation. In the English over here, it says, then we. It really means mimenoi than him. And that's what Rashi says, mimenoi, which is also interpreted as stronger than he. They said that they're stronger than God. That's what he meant. God would not be able to overcome all these nations. Always God gets involved. Verse 32, so they spread the evil report about the land which they scouted. But the land that we went through, lost it to check out. It's a land that it consumes its inhabitants. And all the people that we have seen are all men of stature. Rashi says, wherever we pass, we found them burying the dead. It seems like it's a land that people die a lot. They didn't realize the Holy One, blessed be, intended this for their good. How would they come into the land of Israel, such mighty nations, and they would let 12 guys walk around? So God made that suddenly a plague happened in the land of Israel, and people were dying. So they did not notice these spies. They were busy with the burial of the dead. So they didn't notice these 12 guys walking around. Anshe Midas Gedolim, big and tall. Those whose measurements are attributed, such as Goliath. The height was 6 cubits in span, similar to a man great stature. There were giants in the land. Verse 33, and over there we saw the giants. They are Anak, the sons of Anak, the feeling from the giant, from those who were giants, the Ibenei, and in our eyes we seem like grasshoppers. And that's what we were in their eyes. The Rashi says in the feeling, the giants, descendants of Shamzai and Azael, who fell from heaven, remember in the story in the book of Genesis. We heard them telling each other, there are ants in the vineyard who look like people. Chapter 14, verse number 1. So the entire community raised their voices and shouted. Vayifku kol ha'am balayla hu, and the entire people wept at that night. Asher the Aida when it says Aida, it's really even the members of the Sanhedrin, the members of the High Court, they all were crying. Verse 2, Vayilin al Moshe v'Aaron, all the children of Israel complained to Moshe and Aaron, Vayem kol Aida, and the entire congregation told them, Lumastu be'eretz Mitzrayim, it would have been better that we died in Egypt. Midbar Azel, Lumastu, we should better die in the desert. Why should we go and die in a land, in that land? Why would you go and take us to a land and get us murdered? Let us all die here. Why is God bringing us to this land? Limpo b'cheret, to fall into the sword. Noshenu v'tapeni lavaz, and our wives and our children will be our spoils. It's better for us to return to Egypt. One said to another, Nitna Reish, let us appoint another leader. Let's go back to Mitzrayim. Moshe and Aaron fell on their faces. They call in front of the entire congregation. That's so. So Moshe and Aaron had nothing to answer. You know what to say. Verse number 6, Yishuv ben Nun, we call of Yefunah, and call of the son of Yefunah, and I told him they were also the ones who went to scout the land. Taru bigdeim, tore their garments. Verse 7, when they said to them, these two said to the entire Jewish nation, Lema, talking about. These guys don't know what these guys are talking about. The land that we passed through to scout, the land is exceedingly good. And that completes the Chumash for today. Now we go to the Tanya of the day. We are holding in chapter 7, Roshana Yichud Ramuna, second part of that chapter. Now, as explained, Dr. Rebbe explained in the two names of God, Yud K, Vav K, and the name Elikim are two names, one which denotes the aspect of Chesed, which is above the concept of the way the light is above vessels, above the world, and the Elikim, the name of God, which is nature, which is the way that God comes into the natural world. Now, it's interesting that we don't say the name of God, Yud Hey Vav Hey. We don't say the name of God. We say Adonai. We say Adonai, Baruch Atah Adonai. We don't say that name which is really written over there. But we say the word Adonai, which is the concept of Lord. Blessed are you, the Lord. The Lord is the same concept of Malchus, kingship. So we specifically use Malchus, kingship, instead of the name of Yud K Vav K, the tetragram, God's name, which is above nature. We use the word Adonai, which is the ultimate concept of leadership and kingship over the world. So that's what the Alter Rebbe wants to explain over here. So he says, the term world, Olam, right? We're explaining Baruch, the second verse of the Shema. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchusay, blessed is the glory of his kingship, Malchusay, his kingship, La'olam, to the world, Vod, forever. La'olam Vod, forever and ever. But La'olam is to the world. Olam, the world, Neifal B'chinas Makim B'chinas Man Dafka. When you say the world has the concept of space and time. Something that's higher than the world, spirituality, has no space and time. The world is something that has a space and time. B'chinas Makim, the world has space because it has east, west, north, and south, upwards and downwards. So that's the world. The world has four sides and two up and down. Man, and then you have the concept of time is the past, the present, and the future. So the world runs on the concept of space and time. All these things, north, west, south, east, time. That's no concept in the supernal attributes of God, who have no space and time. Spirituality, you can't put it on the microscope. It's higher than space and time. Especially in the world of Atzilut, in the world of emanation. As explained earlier, the attribute of Chesed is infinite. So too the attribute of the world of Atzilus. Hence, the definition, they are not all subject to limitation of space and time. Malchus, beside the attribute of kingship, Malchus, Baruch Shem Kavod Malchusai, the attribute of kingship, Baruch Levada, only concerning the attribute of God's Malchus, kingship, is it impossible to say that He is a king without end, below without limit, and likewise in all four directions. So that's why we say God is a God. This means that to say that God is the king of all creatures, from the very high to the very low. Thus, when we're speaking of Malchus, the attribute of kingship, in the order to use a terminology that has some relation to space, such as a higher and a lower, this indicates that Malchus itself has some relationship to time and space. And so too in the concept of time. We say in our prayers, Hashem Melech, God reigns. Hashem Molech, God has reigned. Hashem Yinech, God will reign. So you see that we say, even in the aspect of kingship, we use the past, present, and future. Because in Malchus, even though it's an attribute of God, one of the attributes is the last attribute in the 10 attributes of God. The seven attributes of God. It's the last attribute of kingship. In kingship, you have the concept of time and space. And that's why it gives life to the world. So the lowest attribute, which is kingship, most gives the capability for the concept of world. That's again, we keep on saying Hamelech, the aspect of the God's a king. And thus the life force of space, and likewise of time. And they're coming into something from nothing. Their existence, as long as they shall exist, are from God's attribute of Malchus. And that's why we call that also Malchus, kingship is Adnut, Lord. So that's why we use in English the name of God in the Siddur. In English is blessed are you, the Lord. So we use, when we want to say God's name, which we're not allowed to say, we change it, we exchange God's name with the word Adnut. Yud-Tei Vav-Kei, the tetragram, which we don't want to say, we flip it to another name. What's the name that we flip it to? Adonai, which is Adnut, which is kingship, Lord. But so even though that we use the word Lord, which is the concept of a king, but still it's an attribute of God. Now, since the attribute of Malchus is united with his essence, the attribute of God is part of God. And being its absolute union, as will be explained, so therefore in Malchus itself, in the attribute of Malchus, it's still connected to God. Space and time, which are created from Malchus, are therefore also completely nullified in relation to God's essence and being, just as the sunlight, while still within the orb of the sun, is nullified to the sun. So So therefore, the way Adnut, or the way Malchus is in its in the attributes of God, is still nullified to it. This means it says, as long as Malchus kingship, still exists in a state of complete union with God's essence and and space and time. The source of the worlds as found within the attributes are utterly nullified and related to God. This state is called a higher level of unity. That's why there's two levels of unity. Unity is the higher level of Malchus, where it's totally nullified. It exists only before the sense of Malchus through the various Tzimtzumim, in order to vest itself in the lower world, thereby creating them and providing a life with a life. It is then that the worlds enjoy a state of higher level of unity. Because from the perspective of the pristine source of Malchus and Adnut, which brings about their existence, the actual creation is yet inconceivable. So much as Malchus and Adnut are still in a state of inclusion within their source. Consequently, space and time exist there in the same manner as the light of the sun exists within the sun and in a state of complete nullity. So space and time really are that situation, have no space and time. And this is the meaning, the alternative letters of the name of Adnut with the letters of the name of Havai. That's why Adnut is really the name of God, Yud-Kei Vav-Kei, which is above space and time. So we give a name that's totally the opposite of the name of God we give in the name Lord, which is seemingly totally opposite of the name of God, because the name of God is above space and time. And we give the Lord, which is totally in space and time. Because when Adnut is connected to Havaya, it's totally nullified. Because the name Havaya indicates it transcends time, that he was and will be at the same instance. But past, present, and future meld into one with the name of Havaya, indicating that Havaya transcends time. Which across the B'nai Behem and Pasha Pinchas has been brought down in Kabbalah. And likewise, the name Havaya, Yud-Kei, Vav-Kei, transcends space. Because Havaya continuously brings into existence the whole dimension of space. From the uppermost level of space to the lowermost level of space, and the four directions. Clearly, the divine name Havaya transcends time and space. Malchus and Adnut, however, do bear some relation to time and space. Nevertheless, since the letters of the name of Adnut are interspace, right? We change it over. We flip Yud-Kei Vav-Kei to the word Adonai. So they flip, they go together. So that shows that Malchus, in essence, Malchus, the attribute of Malchus, has the higher unity and the lower unity, as the Alter Rebbe will continue. So within Adnut, the name of interspace, within the letters of the name of Havaya, the dimension of time and space are completely nullified in relation to God. This is the state of Yechudei La, the higher level of unity, the way Adnut, which is lordship and kingship, is totally nullified in the name Havaya, in the tetragram of God's name. And that is the Tanya of the day. Today is the 20th day of the month, and it's chapter 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, and 103, and you would have done the Shittas of the day. I wish you all a great, beautiful, happy, wonderful day. See you tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. as we continue the Shittas of the day.
God bless.
Thank you